Welcome, or hopefully welcome back, to the Reliability Matters podcast. This is not one of our normal numbered episodes. This is a special or bonus episode, our annual Surface Mount Technology International preview. Just like the famous line from the 1984 film, The Terminator,
I'll be back.
Yep, SMTAI is back, and not just back to the Chicago area. We're back in Rosemont, co-located with the Assembly Show at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center, October 20th through 24th. Between SMTAI and the Assembly Show, there will be thousands of engineers and industry professionals in attendance. The exhibit floor features hundreds of exhibitors showing off the latest technology. But the topic we're discussing today is the technical conference and other planned events taking place at this year's SMTAI. This year, there are 11 scheduled professional development courses, about 100 technical presentations across 7 technical tracks. Joining me to discuss what's in store for the attendees is Jason Keeping, member of the SMTA Global Board of Directors, where he is Vice President of Technical Programs for SMTA. Jeff Kennedy, past SMTA President and Director of the Manufacturing Excellence Track, and Robert Boguski, member of the SMTA Global Board of Directors, where he is Vice President of Membership and Director of the Test and Inspection Track. There's a lot of great things coming up at SMTAI, and we'll talk about all of them when I return in just a moment.
Welcome to Reliability Matters, a podcast for the electronic assembly industry. Each episode covers topics related to reliability, best practices, and environmentally responsible assembly techniques, with insights from experts across the electronic assembly industry. Now, here's your host, Mike Conrad.
Jason, Jeff, Robert, thank you for joining me today. How are you guys?
Hey, good. Good. Thanks for having us.
Well, of course. Thanks for being here. Let's start with you, Jason. You're part of the overall committee that's putting the conference together. What's going on? We've moved back to Chicago. Tell me about that. What are the reasons we've gone back to Chicago, and what's all that about?
Well, kind of like you've mentioned, this is also our 40th anniversary for the SMTA. So we needed a location to actually showcase the value to the industry, of which the SMT has some deep roots and history in the Rosemont, Donald Stevens Center, that we are co-located with the Assembly Show that should bring more value to the attendees.
What's the value in co-locating with another show, in your opinion? We've done that in the past, right? So this is not new. We used to do it with MD&M, and before that, when we were in the Chicagoland area, we were aligned with the Assembly Show. What's your take on the value of combining two shows?
I'd say synergies, because when you look at two shows, you have a certain audience will attend one, you'll attend another show, and then because they've got similar aspects included, what will happen is they'll go over to see each event. I mean, there's going to be thousands of manufacturing professionals over 45 states, 35 countries that attended the Assembly Show back in 2023. So that was just as we're coming out of COVID. So we should probably even expect a higher number this year, as well as everyone that has attended from the SMTAI conference as well. So we should have a very big show of attendees.
Excellent. Let's talk about, Jason, I'll stick with you for the time being. Let's talk about the technical program. There will be professional development courses and technical presentations offered throughout the event. In fact, the technical conference actually runs longer than the actual exposition floor. How many, I talked about it in the intro, but kind of walk me through the technical tracks and what they're called and what the subject matter kind of within each one, and what specific tracks are being offered this year.
Okay, I mean, it's a great point, Mike. So, I mean, this year we're going to have, 7 tracks, basically advanced packaging, the APT track, which will basically be on, as we're developing technologies in the industry, how are the next generation packages being developed for the assembly? Then we go to the additive manufacturing electronics, the AME track. And right now there's been a lot of changes for either making things lighter, making things easier to get hold of to build assemblies. So this is where we're kind of trying to focus on these aspects. Now, we've then got the low temperature solder LTS track. So as we've gone into the new realm, trying to get lower temperatures to save on costs and increase reliability, we've got a track to talk about this. And then the track that actually Jeff will be talking about later, who he leads, is Manufacturing for Excellence, the MFX track. This is where we start talking about what are all the new technologies on how we build our assemblies. So for the manufacturing engineer, that's the go-to place, I would say, to be. And then you've got your reliability in harsh environments, the RHE track, and that's really kind of where I like to reside. This is where all your conformal coatings, long-term reliability studies are discussed, and this is where you can really find out if you're looking for quality, what do I need to know to make sure things are going well, and then test and inspection, the INS track that Rob takes care of. That's kind of where then how do you test and inspect everything we've just built. And then we've got our Women in Leadership program, the WLP. This is really to give to our audience the breadth of we're not just one focus, but we're covering everything of technology.
Excellent. And I read that there's about, give or take a few, about 100 technical presentations within those 7 tracks. That's a lot of learning that's going to go on. Well,
and just for the audience to know is let me go first back to the PDCs. There's about 11 PDCs that'll be covered to kick off the conference, but then there'll be over close to 100 tracks of presentations. But there actually was more than that. The committee actually reviews all the tracks to make sure they're high technical caliber content for the audience. So it gives value to both attendees as well as expos and suppliers that want to see different technologies that are in place.
Now, all 3 of you have day jobs in addition to your SMTA activities. Jason, you work for Celestica. Jeff, you work with Zestron. Rob, you own and operate Daytest. So each of you are in a different segment of the industry. You know, Jason, you actually build stuff, and that stuff is then tested by Rob, and that stuff gets made with chemicals from Jeff, right? So we all have different legs within this industry. So I'm curious, which, based on actual manufacturing, testing, and on the chemical side, the cleaning side, what tracks interest you most? What tracks do you guys find most interesting, whether you're involved in that track or not? I'm just curious, which tracks are you looking forward to most? And anyone can answer that question.
I'll jump in here, Mike. I'm a bit biased because I lead the MFX track, of course.
There you go.
We've got a couple sessions on cleaning reliability. We also are taking a look at some new materials, and we've got quite a bit of, call it practical papers versus academic papers. So case studies, operation excellence, fabrication, and assembly challenges is what we cover there. But I'm also interested in the harsh reliability because a lot of the people who do cleaning and coating will be presenting in those sessions as well. Their products have up to 30-year lead time. And in order to achieve that, they need to have the highest reliability, which often involves cleaning and coating.
Yeah, I guess if the mission life cycle is 30 years, or if it's going into space and the cost of repairing it, I think about Hubble as an example, is more than the cost of building it, then reliability really matters. And harsh environment is a really interesting track to me, because you and I both, Jeff, work in the kind of in the harsh environment world. If it wasn't for a harsh environment, the two of us may not have jobs. So we're thankful for harsh environments, but there's a lot of changes that some people have to make in their manufacturing techniques and material selections and things like that to allow all of this electronic stuff that the world is creating through IoT and electrification of cars and all that to actually work in these harsh environments. So that, yeah, I agree with you. I'm a fan of the harsh environment track, not at the exclusion of the others, but that just hits home for me. How about you, Rob? What I know you're chairing or you're the director for the test and inspection track. So I assume that interests you. Is that true? And what other, in addition to that, what other tracks do you find interesting?
Sure. Well, first, I co-chair the track with Keith Bryant. I don't want to shortchange him. And yeah, Mike, while my first loyalty is to INS, another presentation that caught my eye and is of immediate interest to what I do is an MFX, a presentation by Saurabh Gupta of Intel.
And MFX is manufacturing excellence, right?
Right. The presentation is DRAM damage due to X-ray inspections post-PCB assembly. Very topical, particularly in the aerospace world where you have a lot of things being shot up into the atmosphere, obvious reliability considerations, because the whole mantra right now is reusable spaceflight hardware. And engineers are worried about excessive exposure of memory devices during X-ray inspection, whether that is leading to the dropping of bits and other anomalies in memory device performance. And there's a lot of research going on in that area right now to try to get some facts behind the theory. Is it more of an urban myth, or is there some factual basis to it? So really looking forward to that presentation.
Is the concern that the actual X-rays are damaging the DRAM?
When there is prolonged exposure, yes. So it's a function of energy and it's a function of time, and it's mainly having to do with manual X-ray rather than AXI automatic X-ray inspection, because AXI tends to be quick in most applications, whereas manual, you're focusing on a known failure in many cases, trying to establish the root cause of it. So you could have a board exposed to X-ray energy for minutes, if not longer. Somebody takes a break, what have you, and people are beginning to suspect that could contribute to some damage to memory devices.
Interesting. I'll have to make a point to attend that, because that subject interests me. The whole X-ray subject, frankly, interests me. It's like a superpower, being able to see through things. But I'd be curious. I'm not asking you for the answer, because we have to get some anticipation for the actual expert in it, but the speaker in this case. But space has a lot of radiation in it, and I know that that's an issue for certain components. It has to be shielded for the hazards of radiation in space, solar radiation and other forms of radiation. So I'm curious how X-ray compares to that. It'll be interesting. And X-ray's right in your alley. You do X-ray, among other things, right?
Among other things, we do all kinds of X-ray, 2D, 3D, CT scanning, all in the interest of root cause analysis, failure analysis, reliability evaluations, all of the above.
Jason, as a manufacturer of goods, electronic goods, other things, what particular tracks or presentations or topics interest you?
So actually, both the MFX as well as the RHE, because of the harsh environments, because that's kind of where a lot of my skills and expertise reside in. Just understand what are the new coating materials, how are they being tested to accomplish most of these new environments? Are there new materials for different technologies that are coming out? It's always good to just see what the next generation is coming.
Yeah, I agree. Let's switch gears. We talked about the technical program, the 7 tracks, the upwards of 100 technical presentations within those tracks. But as the saying goes, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So let's play for a while. I think one of the greatest attributes of SMTA and the expos in particular are the networking opportunities. I started in this industry when I was 24 years old. And, I didn't know anything about this industry. I didn't know really much about electronics, really. And if it were not for the networking and the mentoring and just the connection, I would probably have moved on, nomadically to the next career. It was the people in this industry that taught me. And I've been in this industry for 39 years. because I started when I was 3, and as we all did, I suspect. And I really look forward. I love learning, so I love sitting in the technical presentations. But probably even more, I love just the networking events, and there are many in this case. Let's start with WLP. Rob. We seem to have lost Jason, so I am going to switch over here. Rob, what is WLP? What does WLP stand for? And tell me about that particular program within SMTA.
WLP stands for Women's Leadership Program. We have a very active, very motivated group that is instrumental in promoting the advancement of women engineers in electronics generally and electronic manufacturing specifically. And SMTA is very proud that for 14 years, we have been leading this effort through education, technical presentations, and like you just said, Mike, extended networking, women engineers who are in the industry, mentoring young graduates of engineering and business schools who want to get into the industry, meeting other experts in the context of formal presentations at SMTAI. And we have a good one this year, and it's in recognition of and consonant with the 40th anniversary of SMTA that Jason was talking about.
And speaking of Jason, Jason's having some pretty gnarly internet connection issues today. So Jason is coming and going. So that's fine. We appreciate when you arrive. We're disappointed when you leave, but we'll just keep going. And if we lose you, just come on back. You're always welcome here, Jason. So
it's a harsh environment out there.
Yeah, that's what it is. The boards weren't cleaned properly enough. They didn't use the right chemical. They weren't tested properly, all that stuff. So we can solve all these problems if just everyone would attend the show. The Women's Leadership Program there's an entire track from the Women's Leadership Program, the WLP program.
Yes.
Tell me about what that track entails. I mean, it from the description of it, it doesn't sound like a technical track, but it clearly is. So what types of content are within that WLP track?
The theme this year is a journey through technology, past, present, and future. And it's broken down into segments. We have 2 keynote presentations on the AI theme, artificial intelligence theme. Again, very topical. Our good friend, Dr. Jenny Wang, is going to present on the theme of AI era work, life, technology, leadership, and women. And then Mandy Long, the CEO of Big Bear AI, is going to present advancements in AI from then to now. And following their keynotes, we then have a panel discussion featuring current members and former members who were active in SMTA leadership over the years to discuss the past, present, and future themes, contributions they've made to the industry, lessons learned, mentoring experiences, and what this all bodes for the future. And then there'll be a roundtable discussion at the end, focusing on some of the content in the keynotes and in the panel discussion, and allowing all present at the WLP meeting to offer their comments and contributions about what they've learned and what the future trends will be. And we're speaking in the present, in the future tense, getting women involved in the industry. This is not only aspirational. This recognizes our colleagues who happen to be female who have already made monumental contributions to the industry. It's not like, we're setting a quota here or trying something completely new, but we're building on what has come before in the hopes that we can attract that many more female engineers to our industry and kind of knock down the barriers and the mistaken images that have made this appear to some anyway as a boys' club. That's certainly not what we want to do. This is a one-day event that we hold each year at SMTAI, and this year it happens to be on Monday, October 21st, that afternoon from 1:30 to 5, and then there's a networking reception after that, what we're calling a connection reception. But we probably ought to emphasize that this is a year-round endeavor. This is not meant to pay one-time lip service to women engineers once a year just to check off a box. This is something we as an organization take very seriously. And for that, look no further than the Wind Down Wednesday programs that the WLP committee has been holding now for the last 3 years, where they bring in speakers, both male and female, on all manner of topics having to do with technical expertise, having to do with management issues, having to do with business considerations, having to do with things, health and wellness and staying sane in the workplace, work-life balance. All of that has been considered and has active support. And this is just to give some people who are new either to the industry or to the SMTA a taste of what we do then and there at the expo, but then to invite them to participate on an ongoing basis with some of the other programs that we have.
Well, we seem to have lost Jason. He's having some bandwidth issues up in Canada today, so I don't know if that's part of the cloud strike issue that's grounding all the airlines right now, but we'll blame it on them, whether it is them or not. But I'll thank Jason for joining us, and we'll continue our conversation with Rob and Jeff. So, Jeff, someone's having a birthday. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the SMTA is having a celebration on Wednesday night this year, starting at 6:30. It's back to 1984. This is the 40th year of success for the SMTA. Still a growing concern. I came into the SMTA in 1988. So I think there's a few people that are still ahead of me at the lower membership number. But this will be a fun event with all kinds of contests and networking opportunities and reception. Costumes are welcome. If you have a chance to pick out something from the 1980s, you can use this as an example. This is me and my wife, 1984. So you can see from the hair styles and the clothing styles, it might give you some ideas on how to pick up your costume. So
yeah, after seeing that, I don't know if I want to go back to 1984, Jeff.
Yeah, that was big hair and pocket combs and bell bottoms and all kinds
platform shoes.
Yeah, platform shoes, raised heels. So, yeah, if you weren't born then, but you still want to participate, feel free to look on the Google and find a costume idea.
There you go. I have the closest thing I have, and this is probably more appropriate for the 70s, but I have an old members only jacket. Remember those?
Oh yeah.
With the little things on each shoulder and little members only logo at the front. I think that was a little bit more 70s or maybe late 70s. Maybe that was still in vogue in 84. That's the closest thing I probably have. I never did have the big hair. I had kind of longer hair, but I never really had the big hair. You carried that off, my friend. Yeah, 40 years SMTA. That's amazing. In fact, SMTA, of course, is named after Surface Mount Technology Association. And of course, back in 1984, surface mount technology was novel, and it needed an association to educate the industry on what SMT is. I mean, no one had any idea. What do you mean there's no through holes? What are you supposed to do with this? So yeah, it's seen a lot of history over the years. And now, of course, it's well beyond just SMT. It's wafer level, it's harsh environments, it's ultra HDI, it's all fanned out over a number of different relevant industry topics. We have another program coming up, and I talked earlier about the silver tsunami, the grain out of our industry, the fact that we're finally seeing more young people come into the industry, and these young people that are graduating university are certainly smart people. They're educated, but they may not know a lot about our industry specifically. So I know that the good folks at SMTA and the one of the I'm not sure if it was WLP or someone at SMTA decided it would be a good idea to help introduce all these young people to the industry, and they're calling that the Passport Program. Tell me more about the Passport Program, who it's designed for. I assume it's younger people or people newer to the industry, and what exactly can someone expect if they sign up for this?
Yeah, it's designed for young professionals and anybody who's transitioning over to our industry. And Adam Klett and Chris Shea and Sal Sparacino are driving that. Sal is a good example. He transitioned a number of years ago into this industry, and he had to learn from scratch. He had the engineering background, but he had to learn the electronics background. So the idea is to invite participants to go around the expo floor and carry with them a passport and have them fill out, proof that they visited various participants who happen to be exhibitors on the expo floor, and gain an introduction to what they do, how they do it, what their business is, what the significant elements are, so that they can establish and increase their network, perhaps realize job opportunities from that, find a new customer, find a new supplier, whatever the case may be, broaden the network and increase the networking effect.
Excellent. Yeah, I guess not only will they be introduced to specific technologies, they'll be introduced to people, building their network even higher. Yeah, that's a great program. I do believe this is part of the SYP program, Surface Technology Young Professionals Program. And I believe the SYP program is being chaired by Adam Klett, who's a SMTA member, or Global Board of Directors member, and works with Kaizen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
On the theme, this is our 40th anniversary. It's ironic that as SMTA is getting older, we're catering more to young professionals, which is great. There is a program that will be, the results of the program will be announced at the show, which is a program called 40 Under 40. Tell me more about what 40 Under 40 is, and how do you qualify, and what's the criteria to get into that contest?
So this year we have a special event. It's on Wednesday at 10:30 at the SMTA booth on the expo floor. We're recognizing 40 people who have made special contributions, and they need to be under 40 years old. Some of these people are in chapter leadership roles. Some are contributing to the association via technical papers and presentations. But when I talked to the headquarters, we had over 55 applicants, and they've down selected to 40 that will be recognized at this special event.
I'm really lobbying hard next year to start a new contest called 64 over 64. Any takers?
Could you nudge that just a year or two higher, Mike, and make it maybe 70 under 70? Just saying.
Sure. Yeah, no, if we do under, then that's more inclusive. Yeah, absolutely.
No age discrimination. We want to be open-minded here, don't we?
That's right. That's right. I am impressed with the number of young people not just joining the industry, but actually taking an active role in the industry. I see more and more in the chapter level officer teams. I see more in the committees, various committees that SMTA has. It's good to see. Every time I think that the world is doomed with the new generation, I am constantly relieved and surprised when I visit universities to do speaking gigs there, or attend conferences and hear younger people at the lectern, teaching me. So that's really good.
So beyond the 40 under 40, we also have two special awards, distinguished awards, one being the Charles Hutchins Grant, which is targeted at students going for advanced degrees. It could be in research, it could be in manufacturing, it could be in materials development. And we have the Stromberg Scholarship, which is targeted at people that may not be going for an advanced degree, but are finishing a degree and want to be in the manufacturing business. So those are additional ways that young people can get engaged and be recognized and get some compensation for their efforts.
So the SYP program, the SMTA Young Professionals Program, is hosting a happy hour. And of course, no conference, no expo is complete without an official and probably many unofficial happy hours. Tell me about the happy hour. Where's it going to be? When is it going to be?
It's going to be at the Murray Brothers Caddy Shack, which is in the Crown Plaza, Chicago O'Hare, located on the lobby level on Wednesday, October 23rd from 5 to 6 p.m. And you can put a question mark at the end of 6 p.m. because you know how happy hours go. Sometimes people get excessively happy.
Might be 6 a.m. You never know.
You just never know. So anyway, it's a good networking opportunity for some of our younger members to mingle with some of our more established members, shall we say, and build up those connections.
So, Mike, also on Wednesday afternoon, there'll be an ice cream social on the expo floor. This is a sponsored event by the different people who host the booths. And you can come down and get a sweet twist or ice cream and meet with some of the people that are running the booths. And it's your opportunity to kind of relax in a social atmosphere.
And that's right there on the show floor, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So you can walk around, ice cream in hand, and
drip all over somebody's lovely presentation.
Yes, exactly. Let's hope that doesn't happen. The hazards of speaking at conferences. Well, SMTAI, just to kind of put a bow on all this, SMTAI is offering professional development courses, which are, I believe, 3 hour or maybe 4 hour, probably 3 hour in this case because there's 11 of them. Deep dive courses, about 100 technical presentations, which generally range around 30 minutes. There'll be a keynote as well to be announced, and then plenty of opportunities to network. Whether you are under 40, over 40, it doesn't matter. Whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. There are programs put on by the Women's Leadership Program that are open to all. There are ice cream socials and happy hours and all sorts of events. So no matter what your fancy is, there'll be something there for everybody, whether they're seasoned professionals or brand new, rappers still on in the industry. I hope I'm looking forward to SMTAI. I'm really looking forward to going back to the Chicago area. That's just it's a great venue. The hotels and all of the activities are quite literally, right across the street, if you even have to walk that far. And it's a great place to have a conference. I'm excited that it's co-located with the Assembly Show. There's a lot of synergy. I think you brought that up, Jeff, earlier. There's a lot of synergy between the Assembly Show and SMTA. We are the assembly side of electronics. The Assembly Show finishes the assembly in many cases. So it's a great synergy, and between the number of conference attendees and trade show attendees that we bring and Assembly brings, there's going to be a very large turnout, and I'm looking forward to seeing my friends and colleagues and my future friends and colleagues at this show. And any parting words of wisdom from either Jeff or Rob?
I wanted to mention one other opportunity, Mike. If you can't get permission to attend the full technical program, there's also poster sessions that are on the expo floor, and those are free to attend. Those particular presentations don't require a written paper. So if you're new to the industry and you still want to participate, the poster sessions may be for you, because you're able to talk about your innovation, your project, your accomplishments without having to write a full technical paper.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that brings up another good point, which is if you want to attend the show, the actual expo, trade show floor, with the poster session and the various activities that are going on, the cost is there is no cost. The cost is free. There is a charge to attend the technical conference, but the actual exhibition floor and many of the activities associated with it are at no charge. So, who says there's no free lunch? At least there's a free ice cream anyway. And there is I think a small $40 charge to attend the Back to 1984 event, but that will be the best $40 you've ever spent. It's a great opportunity to learn, particularly if you're new to the industry, but even if you're a veteran in this industry. I've been in it for 39 years and I still learn. My father used to have a saying that he would say regularly, and I don't think anyone could ever accuse him of being a motivational speaker, because the saying was, "Son, you learn your whole life and you still die stupid." So and the older I get, the more I realize that's probably true. And I don't know if I would use the word stupid, but the more you learn, the more you realize there's a lot to learn, a lot more to learn.
And the older you get, the more you realize how little you know, and that's the beginning of wisdom. But at least here, you're in one venue, one time of the year, with a lot of wise people, a lot of people who have a lot of experience. And one of the great things about SMTA is everybody's willing to share. We want to help colleagues advance. We want to help them find new careers, new jobs, new opportunities, solve problems, and all learn something and be wiser from the experience. So take advantage of what we have to offer in one place at one time for that week in Chicago. You won't regret it.
I'd like to add to that a little bit, Rob, if I may. The program is posted on the SMTA website. There's a lot going on in parallel, so I'd recommend for you to take a look at those events that you really want to attend and start mapping out your calendar and your plan now, so that when you get there, you're ready to rock and roll.
Exactly.
I couldn't say it better myself. I'll just add that if you're interested in learning more information about SMTAI, its conference, its networking opportunities, as Jeff mentioned, you can go to the SMTAI.org website that takes you right to the expo and conference information, or you can go on SMTA.org, look at events, and it's all over there too. Or you can look at the show notes. If you're on YouTube right now watching this, just kind of look down, click Show More, and direct links to SMTA and to the SMTA International will be in there. If you're listening on your favorite podcast app, when you pull over and you get to a safe location, look at the show notes and the links will be there as well. Well, to my 2.5 guests, we'll call it, because we only kept Jason probably a little under half the time. But to Jason Keeping and Rob Boguski and Jeff Kennedy, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for all the work you've put in behind the scenes. You are definitely the people behind the curtain that you and many others that work hard and tirelessly to produce such a successful and valuable event. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks for having us, and I'm really looking forward to this year's event.
Me too.
Me too. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys. Well, that's another episode. Thanks for listening to or watching the Reliability Matters podcast. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe to Reliability Matters on your favorite podcast app. If you're watching this podcast on the Reliability Matters YouTube channel, be sure to click the like, subscribe, and bell icons to be notified when new episodes are released. We release new episodes on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. A special thanks to the Printed Circuit Engineering Association's PCB Chat at pcbchat.com and Ascendo Reliability at reliability.fm for syndicating the show. Thanks also for your questions and episode suggestions. Please keep them coming. I love to hear from you. Send comments or episode suggestions to Mike at mikeconrad.com. That's Conrad spelled with a K. To learn more about the Reliability Matters podcast, please visit the Reliability Matters podcast website at, you guessed it, reliabilitymatterspodcast.com. Once again, thanks for listening or watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and perhaps most importantly, keep doing it right. I'll see you again soon.
Thanks for listening to the Reliability Matters podcast. Join us on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month for new episodes of Reliability Matters.